The adventurers had thought they were prepared for anything when they set out to defeat Mephisto, the Lord of Hatred, but nothing could have prepared them for what they would face in the dungeon. As they descended deeper into the darkness, they found themselves facing a malevolent energy that seemed to pulse through the air. The wind howled outside the decrepit building as a group of adventurers huddled together inside. They were on a mission to take down the Lord of Hatred himself, Mephisto. The darkness had grown thicker as they got deeper into the dungeon, and they could feel an unsettling presence lurking in the shadows. As they descended deeper into the dungeon, the air grew colder and the sound of their footsteps echoed loudly, creating an eerie atmosphere. Suddenly, the group came across a strange altar, which looked like it had been used recently. Surrounding it were strange symbols, and the air seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. One of the adventurers, a skilled sorceress named Isabella, cautiously approached the altar. She could feel the dark energy emanating from it, and as she drew closer, she noticed something lying on the ground beside it. It was a book, bound in leather with strange runes etched on the cover. Without warning, the book flew open, and the runes on the cover began to glow with a sickly green light. Suddenly, a figure appeared from the shadows, and the group found themselves face to face with Mephisto himself. The Lord of Hatred's eyes glowed with a fiery intensity as he stared at the adventurers. "Fools," he hissed, "you should not have come here. This place is sacred to me, and you are not welcome." The adventurers quickly drew their weapons and prepared for battle. But as they charged towards Mephisto, they found their weapons had no effect on him. Mephisto's powers were too great, and he easily swatted them aside. One by one, the adventurers fell to Mephisto's wrath, until only Isabella was left standing. She backed away, fear gripping her heart as she realized the true power of the Lord of Hatred. Mephisto chuckled as he approached her, his eyes gleaming with malice. "You are the last one, little sorceress," he said. "Do you really think you can defeat me?" Isabella shook her head, but refused to give up. She raised her hands and began to chant a spell, hoping it would be enough to stop Mephisto. But it was too late. Mephisto struck her down with a single blow, and as Isabella lay dying on the ground, she could feel her soul being ripped from her body. She screamed in agony as the Lord of Hatred claimed her soul, and with a wicked laugh, Mephisto disappeared into the shadows. The dungeon was silent once again, and the only thing left behind was the book, which had fallen open on the ground. Its pages were blank, but the runes on the cover still glowed with a sickly green light, warning anyone who dared to enter the Lord of Hatred's domain. As the wind howled outside, the book lay forgotten on the ground, waiting for the next adventurer to stumble upon it and awaken the wrath of Mephisto once again. As the book lay forgotten on the ground, a small tremor shook the dungeon. The adventurers who had come before had not been the first to challenge Mephisto, nor would they be the last. The Lord of Hatred's power was eternal, and his hunger for souls insatiable. The book would wait patiently for the next brave souls to awaken its power, and the cycle would begin anew. The winds continued to howl outside, as the dungeon remained cloaked in darkness, and the Lord of Hatred's presence loomed large over all who dared to enter.